we reached that point.
Rolling a minute.
Are you rolling?
Yeah, go.
I've been involved with FamilyLife since 1971, and it was established in 1970. Been the CEO since 1996. So I'm very much looking forward to celebrating the 50th birthday of FamilyLife. I don't think that I could ever have imagined that I would travel a journey with one organisation at different stages over many, many years, from client to volunteer to committee of management to social worker to consultant and finally CEO, with lots of breaks in between except for the last 25 years. No, I would never have imagined that that was where my life journey and career was going to go. The first would be in 1972, where as a very distressed 17-year-old, I absolutely got the help that I needed to be safe and to make decisions that I had to make, being in a difficult family situation, which led to me being able to take up a university scholarship and go on and, to my surprise, become a social worker. So I'm very grateful for that very first social worker, Mara Kinnan-Month, who was absolutely there for me to help me with what I needed at that time of my life. So I have no doubt that that made a very big impact. If I pick other times, some of them are really simple things, like being at the Keith Street Community House with families who have really struggled, and women in particular, but who've been able to be reunited with their children, and to see a mum who's had two children that were removed and placed into care successfully reunited and able to look after those children and see those children thriving. And then in more recent times, to see that family sadly at the celebration that we had for the passing of our very dear patron Roger Reardon, but the young adults who were there, who had benefited from our services as a strong family and as young people who are now doing really well in their chosen careers. So those life journeys that, you know, where people are at a very difficult time when things can go badly wrong, there's almost sort of sliding door moments where if you don't get the right help at the right time, it's actually going to change life outcomes. So we want to make sure we're changing them for the really good life outcomes. So it's very rewarding when you can say that that's actually happened. Oh, community Bubs, definitely. I mean, I was fortunate to have had a Churchill Fellowship in 1990, where I travelled overseas to study the prevention of abuse of children in out-of-home care and also how to prevent child placement. So that really becomes about strengthening families. And I visited a number of programs and I met with researchers who at the time were really leading the research of what works to strengthen families and reduce the need for child protection. People from the Chapin Hall Institute in Chicago University, all of the colleagues as part of the International Society for the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect. And I was able to bring that knowledge back. And when I had the opportunity, which Roger Reardon gave me, to design what would be, in 2 pages, my idea of a perfect program, it was Community Bubs, where I could use all of that research and translate it into informed home visiting, but a whole community wraparound, and for a long enough period of time to give the skills to empower a family, give them what they need to be the best that they can be for their children. And I think that's what Community Bubs has continued to do. Community Bubs. I like to think that every child has the birthright to thrive. I think there's lots of things people don't actually know about family life, but I think one of the things that we don't talk about enough is how important every one of our practitioners is. They're all people who are highly skilled, they have studied, they have university educations, but fundamentally they share our values and they really care about making a difference every day in the work that they do. And, you know, it's very difficult to create that in a workforce, but we are fortunate, I think, that we do attract and keep those who share our values, and for those who go on and work elsewhere, they actually take those values with them. So I do think, as well as being skilled and very educated and informed, fundamentally they're passionate and they have the heart that really cares about the best outcomes for others. We need more of that in our community. Well, one of the stories that I'll never forget is actually a really sad story, where we did have a young mum who was referred to us too late. That child protection were already involved, even though she was already known to other services. We really got her too late. And the difficulties of taking on a young mum who hasn't got family support, who's trying to cope with a new baby, when you haven't even sorted out her housing. You know, there's so much for a mum like that. And the opportunity for us to build a network of support around her, to get her stable in her housing, to make sure that she's got support to deal with a crying baby in the middle of the night. You know, I really grieve when we miss that opportunity. And for this young mum, things went wrong and her bub was removed and put into care, and I'm not sure whether she'll ever get that bub back. And I really see that as a failure, as a service system failure, that we know what these families need and we should be able to make sure that we provide it. One that I would share is meeting some of our founding volunteers, and we haven't got too many of them left because time's moving on. But the joy and the feedback from those founding volunteers who set up FamilyLife, to see where we've got to today, that our achievements are beyond the vision that they had, but the core of why they set up FamilyLife is still strong, to support families, to prevent families falling apart, to have professional, highly qualified staff and volunteers, that we still have that special mix where we can provide the services that are needed, but we can build the community wraparound support with volunteers. So to see someone who was part of that struggle to create the organisation, you know, the joy that they have when they see our latest annual report or performance and impact report, and just are blown away with where their idea has got to. 10 years from now, I really hope that FamilyLife will continue to be known as a place of social innovation, a place where we increase our impact by sharing what we've learnt to do that works for other organisations to do in other communities. In Australia, in the Asia Pacific, internationally, where we're able to publish and share, but continue the innovation as knowledge comes forward, how we bring that into practice and then test what's actually working, learn with our clients and the families that we help. You know, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to be even more successful at helping them to have the positive outcomes that they need in their lives? So I hope that growth will not be so much about geography, but about the sharing and the impact in other communities, where just as we learn from other organisations, we've been able to give back and share that out for a bigger impact in more places. I think at heart, Family Life is a community of skilled, caring and professional teams who really live their values as to who they are, how they work together and what they seek to achieve in the world. And I think there's an authentic community heart that throbs within Family Life, and people pass that on, I think that's pretty special. I'm really excited that we can say, you know, from a little idea to a small organisation, we have consistently now demonstrated we're a high impact organisation, that we make a really big difference to those that we help. We have evidence of that, but we also have aspirations to be able to do more. So as we hit this 50th mark, I'm hoping people are thinking about the future and how they can join in and be part of what we do, because it's good for everyone. It's good to be part of helping, and it's good to be able to be helped. So I'm really excited about bringing more people into being part of what we do. I wish that we find more generous community citizens who want to be part of helping us to be the best that we can be. That people like our Roger Reardon, who generously donated his own hard-earned income so that we could start up Community Bubs. I mean, what a legacy that man has by believing in us, investing in us, allowing us to do that work. So that at the time of his passing, he knew that there was over 300 families where he could actually see a difference that he'd made. And I wish other people to experience the pleasure and joy that he had of being able to make such a difference to other families. From my heart, happy birthday, Family Life.